Chairman also of the Committee on Finance, Senator Ping Lacson.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'd like to express my thanks to the distinguished sponsor, Chairman of the Finance Committee, for accommodating us to interpolate on the general principles.
Most willing, Your Honor, Mr. President. Thank
Mr. President, now that the President has sounded the clarion call, and even as he spoke very strongly against corruption in government, don't you think that the Senate, through your leadership as well as that of the Senate President, should heed the call and play a more active role by way of the proposed 2021 national budget?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah. I believe there couldn't be a better illustration of how acts of corruption are committed than by the misuse and abuse of public funds. Not anymore by the hundreds of thousands, but by the millions of pesos wasted during the implementation of the national budget or the General Appropriations Act. That said, I'd like to take advantage of the presence of the members of the DPCC, hoping that we can make adjustments in the policy direction of the 2021 budget to genuinely conform with what they have aptly described or articulated in three simple words: reset, rebound, and recover, in order to adapt to the new normal brought about by the current public health crisis. In fact, in his budget message, President Duterte emphasized that the 2021 budget mentioned the three tenets, including resetting our policies or rethinking the way we govern under this new phenomenon, rebounding through infrastructure development, and recovering by helping our people in adapting to post-pandemic life. I'm sure the President was not referring to the infrastructure projects that I'm about to show you or flash on the screen when he mentioned the pursuit or pursuing the rebound tenet in his budget message. Thus, the proposed 2021 appropriations bill should be scrutinized against the budget philosophies of reset, rebound, and recover. Before I present some illustrative samples of how public funds are wasted through some infrastructure projects, I would like to show you the historical data on the appropriations for the program Buildings and Structures Multipurpose Facilities in two categories. One, various infrastructures including local projects or VILP, and two, local infrastructure program, LIP. Now, this is one item in the annual GAA that can take a backseat in 2021. And I'd like to illustrate why, Mr. President. First, during our session break, Mr. President, I sent out a team to check and verify randomly some of the 5,913 so-called rehashed projects worth 135 billion pesos that were already or are already funded under the 2020 GAA to find out how these projects would look like if 10% or 40% of their 2020 appropriations were, quote-unquote, borrowed by the DBM to be utilized for the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, number one, Mr. President, this is a multipurpose building in Barangay Sapilang, Bacnotan, La Union. Now, in 2017, GAA, page 1040, napondo na po ito ng 5,600,000 pesos. Again, in 2019, page 678, another 5 million pesos was appropriated. In 2020, page 523, another 5 million. Now, pray tell, Mr. President, does this structure a 400 square meter structure look like it's worth 15.6 million to you? And shall we allow to allocate another 5 million pesos for this project in 2021? I think the picture will answer your question, Mr. President. Now, we asked our resident engineer, no, Mr. President, ang cost ng construction niya ng multipurpose building per square meter nasa 30,000 pesos, 25,000 to 30,000 pesos. This is a 400 square meter structure. Kung kukwentahin natin at 25,000, dapat tapos na ito sa 10 million. But as I mentioned, nakagastos na ng 15.6 million, ayan pa yung itsura. It's a skeleton structure, Mr. President, as we speak. Another, napunduhan ito sa 2019, next slide, ng 2 million pesos. Humihingi uli sa 2021 ng 3 million pesos. Kaya po yung itsura. Pupunduhan ba natin ito ng 3 million pesos? Next. In 2019, next slide. Ito. 2 million pesos. Humihingi ng another 3 million pesos. The same question. Are we going to allow that this will be funded in the 2021 budget? Another one. A total of 21 million pesos. Under the 2017 GAA, 8,400,000 pesos. Under the 2018 GAA, 12,600,000 pesos. Ayan po yung itsura. Ayoko sirain yung araw nyo, distinguished sponsor, but I have to show this because I'm trying to drive home a point later. Another one, next. Nakalagay dito, completion, construction completion. Humihingi siya ng dalawang items ang hinihingi, isang 3 million, isang 5 million. So, total of 8 million pesos. Next. Under the 2019 GAA, page 677, nagkaroon na ito ng 10 million pesos. 2020, another 5 million. Under the 2021 General Appropriations Bill, humingi siya ng 2 items pa, dalawang 10 million. But, you know, this structure was funded by the local government unit, not from the GAA. So, nasaan napunta yung 10 million in 2019 and 5 million in 2020? Next. Humihingi ng 3 million pesos sa 2021 GAA. Yung gagawing structure dito, multipurpose building, again, may nakatayo pang bahay. Dapat i-demolish muna. And yet, ang sinasabi rito, ginagamit na term sa item is completion. Anong i-complete dito? Now, anyway, Mr. President, these are observations. And I'm sure, had my team had the time and opportunity to travel to other parts of the country, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, 5,913 infrastructure projects na worth 135 billion pesos. Now, during the DBCC committee hearing, the distinguished sponsor not argued, no, explained that some of these multipurpose buildings are being used as evacuation centers or quarantine facilities. Now, my rebuttal is, there's a separate item, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, of 3.7 billion pesos in the 2020 GAA and another proposed appropriation of 2.7 billion. Maybe if we will, at the proper time, if you will agree or our colleagues will agree that we just delete the proposed appropriations of 68 billion pesos for such multipurpose buildings. Yung iba siguro pwede nating dito realign. Dagdagan natin yung 2.7 billion to be used as evacuation centers or quarantine facilities para mas magamit pa at maging responsive pa doon sa theme ng 2021 GAA. Now, moving on, Mr. President, hindi pa tayo nagtatapos dyan. Ano? There are other skeleton projects, road construction. In 2017, while we were deliberating on the 2018 GAA, or national budget, I questioned this particular project. Why? Because the right-of-way issues have not been resolved. And it was my argument at that time that we should first resolve the right-of-way issues before we even fund the construction of roads and bridges. Now, ang nangyari po rito, nagkaroon pa rin ng funding for 2018. In 2018, ang description, Eastern Interior Road Section including right-of-way and bridge, Cagayan de Oro City, 200 million pesos. Wala po tayo nakitang bridge. Another item, Eastern Interior Road Section with tunnel, Cagayan de Oro City, 150 million. Wala po tayo nakitang tunnel. Ang total na so far na pumapasok dito sa project, because we talked with the, I think, regional director, no? Si Virgilio Duarte. Ang sabi niya, hindi na naging viable or feasible yung paggawa ng tunnel. So, abandoned. But then again, my question is, gumastos na tayo rito ng 1.791 billion pesos kung isasama natin yung proposed budget under the 2021 GAB na 414.5 billion pesos. Question, mag-appropriate pa po tayo uli ng 414 billion after spending, sabihin natin 1.3, 1.4 billion pesos for a project that is no longer feasible? Alam nyo, ang hinaharap yan, kindly flash yung yan. We expected this project way back in January 2019. Ayan po yung itsura ng January 2019. We went back just last month, October 2020. Now, kindly spot the difference. And between 2015 and 2020, 70 million, 110 million, 150 million, 200 million, 200 million, 150 million, 130 million, all the way down. Please answer, distinguished sponsor. Do not be shocked.
Yes, Your Honor. I wasn't sure if you were finished. So, thank you, Mr. President, and I'd like to compliment the good Senator, the Chair of National Defense and Vice Chair of this committee, for going beyond, definitely beyond the call of duty, and to his staff also for really outstanding work in inspecting. It's usually the job of COA and DPWH, but for his staff to go the extra mile, I think deserves some recognition, Your Honor. I think what I would do is I would express initially any openness to any amendments the good gentleman, His Honor, would want to make at the proper time, and perhaps maybe we give some of the project proponents or the agencies tasked to handle these projects, to give them a chance to respond. Although some of the pictures really are quite well, there is an expression in law, res ipsa loquitur, or the thing speaks for itself, Your Honor. So in a way they are self-explanatory. There doesn't seem to be any change in that photograph in answer to your question, Your Honor. So definitely I think we can make adjustments and we can be flexible, Your Honor.
Yeah, we flew a drone over that area, Mr. President, over the project. Ano. It's facing a dike. So probably yung bridge, tatawid doon sa dike. Pero sabi nung regional director, mukhang hindi rin feasible because ang sabi niya, we will have to fix the dike first. So if it does not reflect poor planning, I don't know what is, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. So,
Mr. President,
thank you
Mr. President,
for
may I
that
just,
manifestation.
I think
Mr.
the
President?
majority leader, Mr. President, the
with
majority
the
leader
permission
wishes
of
to.
Senator Lacson, with the permission of Senator Lacson, Mr. President, I believe that is the bypass road going towards the airport. Because I'm based in Cagayan de Oro now, Mr. President, I've seen that. A larger portion of that is already finished. But yes, we cannot go to the airport if this bridge is not completed. Absolutely. So this is, I believe, the bypass road going towards the airport. It will connect towards the highway connecting towards Laguindingan Airport. But with the pictures of Senator Lacson, it's very clear because I've never entered this road. I just see it whenever we pass the bypass road. What we could do, Mr. President, is discuss this with Secretary Mark and ask also the regional director, Ma'am Zanitan, Arditan, to comment why it looks like this after several years, Mr. President. Because I'm interested, of course, I would love to see this project be completed because the traffic in Cagayan de Oro, and I know the distinguished sponsor, Senator Angara, seen the traffic, experienced it firsthand in his recent trip to Cagayan de Oro. The traffic here is starting to get also very, I'd say, intense, no? Very bad traffic situation in Cagayan de Oro. So we welcome this development. It's just that we have to make sure that it's properly implemented. And I join the good Senator Lacson, that we make sure that this project is properly implemented. So yes, maybe in the proper time, Senator Lacson, Mr. President, during the budget of the DPWH, we can ask them about this particular project, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, majority leader. Yes, we confirm the traffic is getting bad.
In case you haven't noticed, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman, some notice staff, branded it road to nowhere. Kasi wala talaga pupuntahan, Mr. President. Papuntang bundok, nakaplano yung tunnel, inabandon yung tunnel. Pero napunduhan yung tunnel. Now, anyway,
Yung white elephant na nabanggit ka.
naging
Mr.
white
President.
elephant na ginastusan na, kung isasama pa yung hinihingi sa 2021, 1.8 billion pesos. The reason why I'm presenting this is, I'm glad that Secretary Dominguez is here. Hirap na yung Department of Finance na maghanap ng mga utangan. And baon na rin tayo sa utang because I think we have hit 4.6 trillion during the pandemic era only. Kaya I think we're gonna hit 14 trillion or 9.6 from initially, I think, if I remember it correctly, last January, nasa 7.6 lang tayo, 7.8. And we're about to hit 12 trillion. May utang ulit tayo kasi kailangan natin ng vaccine. And yet, we see for ourselves how funds are being wasted. And the 2021 proposed national budget should really be redirected to conform with the sign of the times. Kasi if we continue funding and funding these kinds of projects, like what I've shown earlier, yung multipurpose buildings, kaya I will strongly suggest at the proper time that the appropriations for multipurpose buildings, not necessarily totally abandoned, but at least in 2021, baka pwedeng alisin na lang muna natin yung 68 billion or most of it, kasi yung dalawa ito yung BILP and LIP. And when we inquired, yung BILP would include also national buildings. And we don't want to touch those, because these are probably offices of the DPWH or national buildings for some national offices. Pero yung mga local projects, nakita naman natin na skeleton yung after spending or appropriating a few million pesos, ganun yung itsura. Parang na tayo nagpapaloko. I hope you get my point, Mr. President. Another project, ito yung, I don't know how feasible this is, Gika Dale Road Network to Bicol International Airport. Fine. Under the 2020 GAA, meron tong appropriations na 10 million pesos. Ito yung inalisan or diniscontinue, and then we are now proposing to appropriate 1 million pesos under the GAP 2021. pinakompute po namin, ako pinakompute ko, no? How much would 1 kilometer of road cost? Kasi iba-iba, bawat region, iba yung cost. In the Bicol region, ang cost niya is 25,000, 25 million, 22,584 pesos and 33 centavos ang isang 2-lane 1 kilometer road. Kung bibigyan natin ng 1 million pesos, itong project na ito, ang magagawa lamang 40 meters. Is it wise to appropriate 1 million pesos just to construct 40-meter linear meter of road for this project? Parang hindi ba? Kasi magmomobilize ng equipment, yung pala 40 meters lang yung magagawa. Okay. Ito. Access road leading to Lidong Seaport, Santo Domingo, Albay. We were told that Lidong Seaport, Santo Domingo, Albay is privately owned. So why would government spend, tapos ginagamit yung seaport sa quarrying daw ng mga Chinese? Kayo na po ang bahalang humusga, Mr. President.
Salamat nga pala sa panonood mga katropa. Hit like and subscribe naman dyan. Hit nyo rin yung notification bell para updated ka sa mga bago naming videos.